Today we will discuss about the topic population distribution, density, growth and composition of India. Before going to the topic, let us first discuss about what is population. Population means the same species of individual living at a particular place in a particular time interbreeding with each other. Generally, we misconceive that population means only human population, but populations means it may be cattle population, may be dog population, may be human population. It is a broader jargon. If we will talk about the population of India, India is the second most populous country of the world and the population of the India is 136 crore. This is the present status of the population of India. If we will consider about the population census data 2011 census, it is 121 crore. India is the second most populous country after China and it contributes 17% of the world population. India's population is larger than the total population of North America, South America and Australia put together. There are various sources of population data. If we will go for the authentic source, then it is census. Census through census operation, every 10 year we collect the data and it comes under the Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. It was first conducted in 1872, but the complete census was conducted in 1881. The population distribution of India is not evenly distributed everywhere. If the population, first of all let us talk about distribution. What is population distribution? Population distribution refers to the way people are spaced over the earth's surface. If the population distribution we will discuss, the population of India is very unevenly distributed. For example, Uttar Pradesh has the highest population followed by Maharashtra, Bihar and West Bengal, whereas some state like Jammu Kashmir, Arunachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand has very low population. This is the pie chart showing the population distributions of different country where Uttar Pradesh has highest contribution to the Indian population, whereas Sikkim has the lowest contribution to the population of the country. This is a map, population map of India, which shows that some state like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal, which are colored in red, it has very high population density and it contribute higher population, whereas some state like Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and southern state like Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, these are population having, these are the states having low moderate population contribution, whereas the states like Jammu Kashmir and Arunachal Pradesh and some northeastern state which are colored in green color, there are extremely low population are found in these states. Now, what are the factors which affect the uneven spatial distribution of population? Broadly speaking, there are three factors which are responsible for the uneven population distribution. These are physical factors, socio-economic factors and historical factors. Now, what are the physical factors which affect the population distribution? Various physical factors like climate, water, terrain, soil, topography, these affect the population distribution. And if we will talk about the socio-economic factors, then settlement patterns, development of transportation network, industrialization, urbanization, infrastructure, these are all the socio-economic factors which affect the population distribution. And historical factor if we will talk about, then development of cities and historical regions like colonial rule, British rule, these are all responsible for the population distribution. Now, let us discuss about each and every factor one by one. For example, of climate, if the climate is conducive and good climate, then large number of people reside. Example, the coastal climate of India. Coastal climate is very suitable climate, therefore, large number of people of the country reside in the coastal part of the country. For example, all the big cities like Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai found in the coastal portion of the country. water availability. It is a very important physical factor which is responsible for the population distribution. For example, the Indo-Gangetic plain and the coastal plain, these plain areas have abundant water availability. Because of that, most of the big civilization and also big cities that may be in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal, these are found in the Indo-Gangetic plain area. Plain terrain, a good terrain or topography is broadly responsible for the population distribution. For example, the coastal plain and Indo-Gangetic plain, because of the plain terrain and plain topography, large number of people reside in this area, whereas the hilly area, the mountainous area of Himalaya mountain and northeastern state like Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, they are the population is very sparsely populated. Now comes the socio-economic factor. The socio-economic factors have great role for the population distribution. For example, the transportation network, the infrastructural development, industrial development, these are all big socio-economic factor responsible for the population distribution. Here we can take example of Mumbai, Delhi and all the important big cities where industrialization and urbanizations are at the peak, and because of the all the socio-economic facilities available there, large number of peoples are residing in this area. Historical factors, if we will take consideration about the historical factors, then colonialization, colonial rule more or less responsible for the population distribution. For example, because of the colonial rule, the Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai like cities are heavily populated. So, these are the different factors which affect the uneven distributions of the population. Next come the density of population. Now, what is density? Density of population means the ratio between the number of people to the size of the land. It means density of population equal to population per square kilometer area. Density can be explained in some other ways like physiological density and agricultural density. What is physiological density? Physiological density means total population divided by net cultivated area. And what is agricultural density? Agricultural density means total agricultural population divided by net cultivable area. Now, if we look at the density of the population in India, the density as per 2011 census is 382 person per square kilometer. States like Bihar, West Bengal, UP have higher densities, whereas state like Assam, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Jharkhand, Odisha have moderate density, and some states like Arunachal Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir and northeastern state like Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Meghalaya, these states have relatively low density. Here in this map, as per the densities, it is clearly visible the dark state and the darker color which is in deep maroon color, the Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengals clearly and Kerala clearly reflected these state as high population density, whereas in grey color the moderate densities states are pictured, whereas some states like Maharashtra, Gujarat and these states are also moderate density, whereas Arunachal Pradesh and Jammu Kashmir, which is white in color, clearly reflected the low population density of the country. Here in this map, high density map of Indian state, which is West Bengal, which has the highest population density as per 2011 census. In this map it is clearly visible. Next, the low density state of India. The lowest density state is Arunachal Pradesh, which is only 17 person per square kilometer. Some other low density states in this map clearly visible, that is Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and some northeastern state. This is a map of the population density of India, where it is clearly visible, the dark the color, the more dark the color, the density is more, and with the less of the density the color is reducing. Next comes the growth of the population. Now, let us talk about what is growth of the population. Growth means change in the number of people living in a particular area between 2 points of time is known as growth. Its rate is expressed in percentage. It has two components, namely natural and induced. Natural growth is a simple phenomena, it means birth rate minus death rate, whereas induced growth is bit complex, like birth rate plus in migration minus death rate plus out migration is induced growth. The annual growth rate of India population is 0.97% as per 2021. Here in this wheel diagram, it is clearly visible the growth rate of UP, Bihar, that is 30%, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, that is 60%, 16%, and all the other states growth rate clearly visible in this pie chart. Next, what is decadal growth and what is annual growth rate? Decadal growth rate means in 10 year of span the population grow, that is called decadal growth rate, and in every year the population growth, whatever growth is occurred, that is called annual growth rate. The decadal and annual growth rate of population in India are both very high and steadily increasing over time. The annual growth rate of India population is 1.64% as per 2011 census. Here in this map, it is clearly visible, the dark the color, the growth rate is high, and the lighter the color, the growth rate is low. So here it is clearly visible in this map that Kerala, which is light in color, have low population growth rate. Now, what is population doubling time? Population doubling time is the time taken by any population to double itself at its current annual growth rate. It means it is in a particular time or in a given period of time within which the population double itself. The population growth rate of India, if taken into consideration, it can be broadly categorized into 4 phases, that is from 1901 to 1921 phase 1, 1921 to 1951 phase 2, 1951 to 1981 phase 3, and 1981 to onwards is phase 4. Now, let us talk about each and every phase one by one. Phase 1, this is the phase of stagnant growth. In this phase, the growth rate was slow because birth rate and death rate both were high. Poor medical facility was there, low growth rate and inefficient distribution of food and basic facilities were the phenomena of the first phase. In the second phase, that is 1921 to 1951, this phase is known as steady population growth. In this phase, improvement in the health and sanitation occur. Because of the improved health and sanitation, low mortality rate occurred and better transportation facility leads to high birth rate and decline in death rate. Because of that, in this phase from 1921 to 1951, there is a steady growth in the population noticed. Next come the phase 3. In phase 3 from 1951 to 1981, this phase is known as population explosion phase. In this phase, rapid fall in mortality rate and high fertility rate is a basic features of this phase. And why this phase leads to rapid low fall in mortality? Because of the improvement in the living condition and increased migration, this phase leads to high mortality, fall in mortality and high fertility. Because of these two reasons, the population explosion was very high. Next come the fourth phase. In the fourth phase from 1981 onwards, the growth rate has been declined. Why the growth rate has been declined? Because of the crude birth rate has declined, and due to increased age of marriage and improved quality of life and education, the birth rate has declined. Simultaneously, the death rate has also declined. That leads to growth rate of the country has been declined gradually, and it has been projected by World Development Report that population of India will touch 1350 million by 2025. This is a table which shows that the population of the country how changing over period of time from 1901 to 2011, and the growth rate simultaneously visible in the represented in the percentage which is changing over period of time, and gradually it is declining. The regional variations of the population growth. If the growth rate is taken into consideration, there is a wide regional variation in the population growth in India in the period of 1901 to 2001. The states like Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Puducherry and Goa shows low rate of growth, which is being 20% decadal growth, whereas state like Gujarat, Maharashtra shows high population growth rate. So, in this way the growth rate of India's vary from place to place. Now, let us talk about population composition. Before going to the population composition, first we should know what is population composition. It is the description of characteristic of group of people in terms of factors such as age, sex, education, literacy, language, religion, ethnic characteristic, tribes, place of residence, occupation, mineral status, etc. Before going to the different composition, first let us start rural and urban composition. Now, what is rural composition? What is urban composition? This is the thing we are going to discuss right now. If we will talk about the total population live in the village in India is 68% as per 2011 census, and this is called the rural composition of the India. India is a country of villages, where more than 6 lakh villages are found as per 2011 census. Therefore, only once Mahatma Gandhi said, "I have seen my nation in its villages." State like Bihar and Sikkim have very high percentage of rural population, whereas state like Goa and Maharashtra over 50% of their total population residing in the villages. Union territory have smaller proportion of rural population except Dadra and Nagar Haveli, that is 53%. The urban populations is 31.16% in India, which is quite low, but it is showing a much faster rate of growth over decades. Here in this pie chart, it is clearly visible that the red portion which shows the rural population of India and the green portion which shows the urban population of India. The green portion which is only 31.16%, whereas the red part which shows the rural population of country which is 68.8%. It clearly indicates India lives in its villages and large number of people residing in the villages. Now, let us talk about the linguistic composition. India is a country where large number of languages are found, and if we look at the linguistic composition of country, it is highly diversified. India has a land of linguistic diversity. According to a classification, in India there are 179 languages are there and 544 dialects are there in the country. In modern India, there are 22 languages are scheduled language, which is given the constitutional status, and a number of non-scheduled languages are there. Along with these scheduled languages and non-scheduled languages, there are 6 classical languages are also there in our country. Out of all the languages, the speaker of Hindi language is highest in percent, that is 40%, whereas smaller percentage of different languages like Sanskrit, Bodo and Manipuri are found in the country. In this pie chart, it is clearly visible that in violet color, that is 40% people are speaking in Hindi, whereas other different colors shows the percentage of other language spoken by different people. Now, if we look at the linguistic classification, the speaker of the Indian languages belong to 4 language family, which have their subfamilies and branches or groups. The families are broadly divided into four types, that is Austric, Dravidian, Sino-Tibetan and Indo-Aryan. From the Austric family, the different languages are here it is given in the chart. From the Austric family, various languages are there. The Dravidian family, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada are the Dravidian family, and Sino-Tibetan families group of languages are Jammu Kashmir, are spoken in Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh and northeastern state, whereas Indo-Aryan families of language are spoken in Jammu Kashmir, Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra and all this rest of the country spoken by Indo-European language family. This is the language family of India, which clearly shows that Indo-Aryan family, which is represented in light color or light yellow color, which indicates that larger portion of the countries are speaking Indo-European family, whereas the southern portion of the country, which is colored by blue color, it is the southern portion speaking the Dravidian family languages, that is Kannada, Malayalam, Telugu and Tamil. The red portion, which is colored in the some portions of the Leh, Ladakh and northeastern state like Assam, Arunachal Pradesh and all the other northeastern state, they are speaking the language of Sino-Tibetan family, and some other portions Austric family, that is represent in green color in this map. Now, let us talk about the religious composition. If the religion is taken into consideration, India is a country of multiple religion and multiple culture. Religion is one of the most dominant factor affecting the culture and political life of majority of the Indians. India is a country of India constitutionally is a secular country which have no official religion, but broadly speaking there are 6 major religions are there, that is Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Sikh, Isai, Parsi and Buddha and Jaina. Along with these 6 major religions, there are more than dozens of minor religions are there in this country. Hindu are distributed in almost all the state except the district of Indo-Pak border, Indo-Bangladesh border, Jammu and Kashmir and hill state of northeast. Muslim are concentrated in Jammu and Kashmir, West Bengal, Kerala, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi and Lakshadweep. Christian are concentrated in western coast around Goa, Kerala, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Manipur and Nagaland. Sikh are concentrated in the state of Punjab, Haryana and Delhi. Jain are concentrated in Rajasthan, Gujarat and Maharashtra. Buddhists are concentrated in Maharashtra, Sikkim, Leh, Tripura, Himachal Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh in this area, and Zoroastrians and tribal are scattered in small portions of the country. In this way, all the different religions scattered all over the country in a very diversified manner. This is the pie chart which shows the religious compositions of the country, which indicates Hindu are the majority populations, whereas all Muslim are the largest minority, which contribute 17%, and rest of the religion, that is Christian, Sikh, Buddhist, Jain and other are contribute very small percentage of population. Now, we will talk about the composition of working population of the country. If the working populations of the countries are taken into consideration, then India has both 3 types of population, that is marginal worker, main worker and non-worker. If the working group are taken into consideration, if the total population is taken into consideration, then only 38.8% people are working in various sectors, that may be marginal worker or main worker, it only 38.8%, and rest of the people are non-worker. It clearly indicate the unemployment rate of the country is very high. So, from the working population composition, it is clearly visible, and we clearly notice that the working population of country is only 38%, and the employment ratio is very low. This is the condition of the working population. Now, let us talk about the types of migration. If we look at the migration, it is not same everywhere, every place and every time. With the different place and time, and with different concept, the migrations change, and in this way there are various types of migrations are there. Now, let us talk about what are the various types of migration. The types of migrations are of various type on different basis. If on the basis of time, it is broadly of two type, that is short time migrations and long time migration. Now, what is short time migration? When someone or a group of people migrate to a different place for short span of time, it is called short time migration. And when a migratory migrate to a place for longer period of time, for example, for 10 year, 20 year span or 30 year span, then it is called long time migration. Now, on the basis of distance, again migrations are of two type, that is short distance and long distance. Now, what is short distance migration? For let us take an example, when a person migrating from Cuttack to Bhubaneswar or from Rourkela to Bhubaneswar, then it is a short distance migration, where the distance of migration is very small. Whereas, if someone migrating from Odisha to America, if someone migrating from Delhi to New York, then the distance is very long, and it is called long distance migration. Now, migration on the basis of will, on the basis of desire, or on the basis of personal interest, it is again of two type. First is voluntary and second is involuntary. Now, what is voluntary migration and what is involuntary migration? For example, by their own will and own desire, if someone migrate, then it is called voluntary migration. And if someone migrating involuntarily, that is forcefully, for example, somewhere a dam or somewhere a project is going on, somewhere the government is forcing the people from for the movement of people from one place to another place, then it is called involuntary migration. Let us take example of the people, those they are migrating where there is Hirakud dam is constructed. Because of the construction of dam, the people migrating from one place to another place. Let us take example of Syria, which is a war affected place. Let us talk example of the Middle East country, where because of the terrorist Middle East country, large number of people are migrating from one place to another place. Presently, we can take example of Afghanistan, where because of the Taliban, large number of peoples are migrating to nearby country. These type of migrations are known as involuntary migration. Migration has some other types also, on the basis of number of people it can be broadly two type, that is first one is individual migration, second one is group migration. Now, what is individual migration and what is group migration? Where some individual, a particular person migrating from one place to another place, it is known as individual migration. Whereas, when a group of people migrating from one place to another place, that is a group of people or large number of people migrating, that is known as group migration. Now, individual migrations are mainly people, one person migrate from one place to another place. For example, someone going from Odisha to Bangalore in search of job, someone going from Bhubaneswar to Delhi in search of job, a single person migrating here from one place to another place, and this is known as individual migration. Whereas, what is group migration? When large number of people in a group migrating from one place to another place. Let us talk example of Rohingya Muslim. More than 40 lakhs or more than 40,000 people are migrating from Myanmar to Bangladesh and India. So, they are refugees, they are residing in India and Bangladesh in form of refugee. They are known, that is known as group migration, where people migrate in groups. Now, there are some other types of migrations are also there on the basis of region. On the basis of regions, migration are of various type. First one is, that is regional migration or internal migration. Regional migration and internal migration. Second one is international migration. International migration. Now, what is regional migration or internal migration? When the migration will be within a region, then it is called regional migration or internal migration. Whereas, when the migration will be between the two regions, for example, from India to America, from America to China, these types of migration are known as international migration, where the people changing the place from one country to another country. Now, the internal migration again are of two type, interstate and intrastate. Now, what is interstate migration? Interstate migration means when people move from one state to another state, it is called interstate migration. Intrastate migration means when the people move from within the state, it is called from one district to another district, it is called intrastate migration. In this way, on the basis of region, it is of two type, regional and international or intra-regional. Again, regional migration are of two type, that is interstate and intrastate migration. On another basis, there are four types of migrations are there, that is rural urban, rural to urban, rural to rural, urban to rural, and rural and urban to urban, urban to in this basis migrations again are of four type, that is rural to urban, rural to rural, urban to rural and urban to urban. Now, let us discuss why these migrations occur and how people move from rural to urban area, rural to rural area, urban to rural area and urban to urban area. Now, what is rural urban migration? Generally, people move from village area to urban area in search of job, in search of employment, to earn money for better living standard, and these types of migrations are more prominent in India. Large number of people migrating from villages to urban area. This is called rural urban migration. Let us talk example, someone from the rural villages of Odisha migrating to Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata. This is called rural urban migration. Broadly, rural urban migration is a very prominent form of migrations generally found in India, that is where people move from rural area to urban area. After the rural urban migration, what is rural to rural migrations? These types of migrations are found in India because of our social structure and social customs, where because of marriage generally girls migrate from one village to another village, and these types of migration again more prominently found in India. Next comes the urban to rural migration. Now the question arises, why people migrate from urban area to rural area? Here it is clearly indicate that it is a contradiction. Generally people migrate from rural area to urban area in search of better job, in search of better lifestyle, but why this urban to rural migration? Urban to rural migration are also noticed because nowadays peoples are fed up with the urban lifestyle, polluted air, urbanizations, that is urban clumsiness. So for a healthy lifestyle or for a healthy lifestyle, for clean air, people nowadays migrating from urban area to rural area. I can give examples of large number of peoples and millionaires and rich peoples are building their farmhouse in the rural villages of their metropolitan cities, where people migrating from urban area to rural area. Now what is urban to urban migration? Urban to urban migration is also more commonly found in India, where people move from one urban area to another urban area. This may be due to transfer from one job to another job, or within the same job people migrate from one urban area to another urban area. In this way, there are various types of migrations found in India. Now if we talk about the migrations of India according to 2001 census, out of 315 million migrants, 98 millions changed their place of residence in 10 years, and 81 millions are intrastate migrant. Again, the stream was dominated by female migrants due to social factor, that is marriage, while men predominant in rural, urban and interstate migrant due to economic reason. India also experienced emigration from and emigrations on the neighboring country. According to 2001 census, more than 5 million persons have migrated to India from one country to from other country. 96% are from the neighboring country, that is large number of people from Bangladesh, Pakistan and Nepal have migrated to India. Now if we talk about the incidents of partition of India, in 1947 India separated, India and Pakistan separated and two nations developed, and because of the two nations large number of Hindu migrated to India and they reside in various states in form of refugee and migrants. The same thing happened in 1971. In 1971 Bangladesh, a new country formed, and large number of Hindu people also migrate to India. In this way, because of the India's liberal immigration policy, large number of people from Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka have migrated to India over period of time. about 1.16 million refugees are residing in India, and they are migrated from Tibet, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Bangladesh and Myanmar. Here why the refugees are coming from these countries? Now if you will go look at the history, in 1958 Tibet was occupied by China, unauthorizedly it was occupied by the China, and because of the Chinese suppression, large number of Tibetan people migrate to India, and they are right now residing in India in form of refugee from in Arunachal Pradesh and Leh and Ladakh area. Similarly, Sinhali people migrate from northern territory of Sri Lanka, that is Jaffna territory, and they are residing in southern part of the India in form of refugee. Similarly, large number of people from Pakistan and Afghanistan migrating to India over period of time and residing in India in form of refugee. Now, if we look at the spatial variation of migration, the migration is not same in every places. The migration to Maharashtra, Gujarat and Haryana is highest from other state, whereas some states like Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, these states receive a least number of emigrants. Now, after the types of migration, we have let us talk about the causes of migration. The causes of migration broadly of two types. The causes of migration can be categorized broadly into two types, that is push factor and pull factor. Now, what is push factor? Push factor means the cause which push someone to migrate to other place. This is called push factor. Now, what is pull factor? The pull factors are the alluring factors or the factors which attract someone to migrate from the source to destination. Now, what are the push factors which leads to migration? Poverty, high population pressure on the land, lack of basic infrastructure facility like healthcare, education, natural disasters, flood, drought, cyclone, earthquake, storm, tsunami, war and local conflict, and also most of the time the government policies and government decisions are the push factor which push someone to migrate from one place to another place. Now, how government policies also leads to migration, or it can be a cause of the push factor of migration. For example, Navin Patnaik government or Odisha government take a initiative to develop a Hirakud dam, or for the construction of Hirakud dam, large number of resident in that area forcefully drive out to migrate to other place, and they were rehabilitated in the other place. So, it work as a push factor and people migrate from one place to another place. Now, what are the pull factors? The pull factors are the factors which attract the people from different places for better options. Now, these are the pull factor which is responsible for the migration, that is availability of regular work, relatively higher wages, better opportunity for education, better health facility, source of entertainment. These are the different pull factor which attract the people from one place to another place and helpful for migration. Again, the reason for migration of male and female are different. For male, economy is the main cause of migration, whereas for female, social cause, that is marriage, is the most important cause of the migration. About 38% of the male migrate due to work and employment, whereas about 65% female migrate due to social reason, that is marriage. Here in this pie chart, the reason for migration in India clearly indicates large number of people migrating from one place to another place for the cause of work and employment. Now, what are the consequences of migration? Migrations have various consequences like economic consequences, social consequences, demographic consequences. In this way, migration have various consequences in the society. First, let us talk about the major economic consequences of migration. Major economic consequences, like it leads to economic, in this way various consequences of migrations are there, that is economic consequences, social consequences, demographic consequences of migration. The sometime migration may be helpful and sometime migration may be also painful for a nation. Thank you.